Pictures float by, including two girls in a tree, a bride, a boy holding a sparkler, a man, a woman, and a dog, a woman standing near the ocean, two girls at a playground, a woman kissing a baby, and a girl watering flowers. The hosts are standing together. Scrapbook memories. The hosts are sitting at a table.
Get ready to add some color to your pages and to your photos on today's Scrapbook Memories. Hi, I'm Michelle Gerbrandt of Memory Makers, along with my co-hosts, Julie McGuffey and Beth Madlin.
Well, we're feeling very colorful today, and we hope you are too. You know, I remember when black and white TVs changed to color. I know you guys don't remember.
No.
In color, it makes such an impact on our lives, you know, from the clothes that we wear. And it also influences our scrapbook pages. It's just very important.
Sometimes I need a color wheel to help me out, though. And in this page right here, I had a lot of pictures with blue water. They're at the pool. And I wanted to highlight that, so I wanted to make sure I had blue in my page, but I also needed a complementary color. And in this case, I have blue for the water, and that's what I use as my background. But just so those pictures didn't get lost, I added the complementary color of orange. And I even added a little bit of a light orange, a lighter tint of that orange to make it stand out more.
That's a great idea.
I love the color wheel.
It's very, very helpful.
It's a great big help.
To just think complements and opposites. Very helpful tool.
Right now, if you don't have a color wheel, but you've got lots of different colors of paper, let's take this photograph, for example.
I love this.
And I picked this paper first
Yeah.
and put the photograph on, and it looks kind of okay, because
Yeah.
there's some red in the picture, but there's also a little bit of lilac. So let's try it on this color.
Oh, it
It's
stands
just
out.
amazing how that
It stands
changes.
out a little bit, but there's more than one shade of lilac, right? Let's go with this darker color, and look how that makes that photograph pop. So don't be afraid to experiment with your photograph on different colors of paper. Just pick out a color in your photograph and then enhance that over all your scrapbook
And
page.
think about your contrast, your light and dark values. I think that really helps with that one too.
Right. And also with your matching.
Well, another thing with color to think about is on the color wheel there are hot and cool colors. So for instance, your blues, greens, purples are your cool, and your reds, yellows, oranges are your hot. And so for instance, in this page, this is Morocco. Hot. When I think of those photographs.
Really hot.
And so you want to think hot colors, and it helps enhance the concept of the photos as well. Then I also have another page done in hot colors, which just in her outfit are pinks. And so we're using hot colors. Now this is a complementary page to that, using cool, because in his clothing, it's cool. So you can see it's all using blues and greens. And then also on this particular page, again, it's all cool. You know, it's a very peaceful page. You know, it's not something that a lot of energy or heat or things like that. So it's just very peaceful and calm, and you can complement cool colors, and it works great. It's another way to think about it.
And you don't want the colors to overpower your photographs, so that is important.
Nice job with all these. And you know, we have some other wonderful pages for you today. Catherine Chambliss is our first guest. It's amazing what a difference color can make on her photos. Barbara Katzos has computer tips for creating custom backgrounds.
Beth and Julie bring out fall colors with a unique cutting project. Then it's off to Memories Expo with an interview from Sandra Joseph.
Next, we'll see some wonderful jewel tones on gems you actually make from paper. Then Patty Swoboda joins us for a look at a new technique she invented for hot foil pens. I'll be right back with Catherine and a new look at color, so stick around.
Beth and Catherine are in the studio.
Well, who would be a more perfect choice to tell us about color than Catherine Chambliss? And we're so glad you could be with us and share how to turn one photo into different colors.
It's very easy to do. Just one picture we've taken here, and we've changed it, added green, red, and blue on different occasions, and put it all in a line on this page.
And it goes really nicely with the paper, which, you know, is color blocked already. I'm sure, were you like, okay, what photos can I make to go on this paper?
I collect paper, and I have to figure out how to use it.
Sure.
And this is easy.
Very nice. Well, we want to see how it's all done, because you do need to take a picture to a picture kiosk and work it out, right?
That's right.
Okay, let's try that over here.
Catherine picks up a photograph as they both head to the picture kiosk.
We just put our original right here on the glass. Go ahead and get this started.
Here we go.
There we go. We're going to make prints and enlargements. So we're going to make 3 different 4x6s. Prints from different pictures. We actually have one picture, but we're going to tell the machine we have 3 different ones, and that's how we get 3 different colors. I'm going to choose 3 4x6s. And I'm going to agree that this is a personal photo of mine, not a professional. We're going to scan in a picture, and it's a color picture. And this just takes a few seconds to scan the photo in.
Beth nods and they both watch as the photograph is scanned into the kiosk computer.
And this is one of your favorite photos. Do you have a special book of just your favorite photos?
This is just a scrapbook for the summer.
Oh, the
All
summertime.
pictures done in that summer. Okay, I'm going to agree that this is, it was scanned in correctly. And I'm going to push the edit button down here to change the color.
They wait for the picture of the smiling little girl to appear on the screen.
Adjust color.
Two identical pictures side by side appear on the screen.
You can see on here you've got red, green, and blue. We're just going to start with adding all of the red you can add, and you can see how the photo's changing.
The photo on the right is
here.
changing.
This is the edited picture. I'm going to save that. Save it again because that's the color that I want this red. I'm going to accept and get another. And basically we're going to start over and scan the same picture in again so that we can change the color one more time. So it's going to take a few seconds again to scan it as well.
They both wait for the photograph to scan into the computer.
The whole process doesn't take very long.
No.
In 5 minutes or less, you can have a completely different picture.
And what's nice is you can put all of it on one page.
That's
print
right.
it out onto
exactly.
one page.
It's just going to be one page. So again, we're going through the same steps. We're adjusting color. And this time we're going to add all the green that we can add. And I'm just pushing this button and you see the numbers go up.
And we should mention you're leaving the other two colors just as they are.
That's right. You can see red and blue are the same. We're going to save that because that's exactly how I want it, green. Save that again. And we're going to accept and get another. And we're going to do this one last time to get the blue.
I never thought of doing this to my photos, but what an easy thing.
It is so very easy, and the effect is very dramatic. It's going to scan one last time.
She scans the picture for a third time.
There you go. Almost.
Almost.
There
Here
we
we
go.
go. All right. Okay. We're going to edit one last time, adjust color one last time. And this time, I'm going to add all the blue you can add, and you can see the photo changing again. We're save again. We're done. It prompts you through the whole thing, you can see. And then we're going to print it. You can see how it's going to print right here.
Right.
I'm going to push print.
And in the, television world, we made it fast. Look how nice that looks.
You've got green, red, and blue.
And we could probably do smaller photos, too, if we wanted to.
You can.
Right. Well, did you know that your scanner can be a scrapper's best friend, and not just for scanning old photos? Barbara Katzos will show us how to create interesting page backgrounds by scanning some items you may not have thought that you could scan.
Barbara is standing near the counter where a laptop computer rests.
Hi. Those of us with scanners know that they're really great tools in order to make backgrounds for your scrapbook pages. You can scan all kinds of things that you would print out on acid-free paper and add to your pages. But what some of us don't always remember is that, did you know that you can scan things that are not flat? That's right, you could scan 3D objects like this and make interesting backgrounds. Watch what I'm talking about. If you take a 3D item and you put it on your scanner bed, you will have to make sure that the lid closes. So one trick is be sure that you make sure no light gets in, which you do by putting something black over the top of your scanner bed. Well, I scanned that, took a picture of it, ended up with this.
It's a dog collar.
And look at this. This is what I used to put around my journaling on this scrapbooking page. Next thing I did was I was inspired by this picture of Emma lying in the pile of leaves. I then scanned some autumn leaves and then used them as a decorative element for my page, like that. The next thing I did, and I admit I got a little carried away, was I was inspired by the bandana that Tipper's wearing, and I actually scanned her real bandana and used that as a mat for the corners of the pages, and as well as behind the photo of Emma. The last thing I did was we had her paperwork, far too valuable to put in an album, not to mention it's not acid-free, so I scanned her actual registration, reduced the size, used that in there. Even added her favorite treats, the doggy biscuits. So you see, as long as you look at your photos for ideas, you can end up with some really interesting and unique pages. I'm Barbara Katzos. We'll see you next time.
Beth and Julie are in the studio.
Now, we couldn't feature color without a few fall leaves. These look so real, but we actually made them with a unique cutting tool.
We did, Julie. And on our page, we do have a fall leaf, but we also have sort of a fall border, autumn, that we made out of mosaic letters.
I really like this border.
Yeah.
So you're going to show us how we make the mosaic letters, right?
I have to say it's very simple. And I used to think that, they had to be positioned just so, but really you just start chopping up your paper. And this is a fall leaf paper that I've cut into little pieces, okay?
What a great way to use up all those scraps. And this is something that your children could do to help you
Oh,
with.
they really could. So basically you do that and you run it through a self-adhesive machine and they lay out like that. And so there's adhesive on the back and you basically just line them up on here.
So you're just sticking them down in a real random fashion.
Yeah, no.
Just like the dinner plate mosaics, you know, where you
Right.
get all those little pieces and then you glue them on something else.
There might be a triangle, there might be a trapezoid. I don't know any more geometric shapes to talk about.
I'm just really being very impressed there with all these words.
There we go. So we do the whole border because we're going to cut out these letters autumn. So I already did one for us just to make this speed along a little bit.
So you've made your own custom mosaic paper.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
And it was so easy. There we go. Now, this is a cutting tool, and there's a blade on here. It's a swivel blade, but I always try to make it go forward as I'm starting to cut. I hold this part, the outside ring, and I just put it up against this template. And there's a words on this template. You want to make sure the words and the letters are facing you correctly.
That we can read them, right?
Yes. And then, if you don't mind holding with me.
Yeah,
just
when
gonna
you're
go
using
around.
a smaller piece of paper, we probably would tape it down with a little bit of, even masking tape.
Right.
Something that's going to come off very easily afterwards and not leave a residue.
I'm going through this relatively slowly because I'm basically going through 2 layers. So something to think about when you're doing this. Now, there we go. There's our U.
Very pretty.
Now, I also matted the U onto some yellow paper.
You did a very good job.
Thank you very much. So there you go. And you just trim around that, and there you have your letters. But we have a fall leaf on this page. So that if you look under the vellum very closely, you'll see a fall leaf. And with that, we did use a template, okay? I did cut out a leaf from this template. But for the rest of this project, we're not going to use the template. We are going to do a freehand style with this cutting tool. As we were using the template, we had this turned all the way down. Now we're going to turn it counterclockwise. So basically, it is used more freehand.
Right, and you're raising the blade, right, because it doesn't have to rest on the template.
Right. And I've also drawn on the little veins I want on my leaf. And I'm just going to kind of look around here and follow this pattern that I have created and cut it out. Now, the beauty of it is if I don't cut it correctly,
we're going to turn it over and use the other side anyway, right?
You are so right. And again, it's a swivel blade, so you just keep going around.
Well, this is a really, really pretty effect.
I know, I love this. And then tuck it behind vellum, and you really have just a pretty, it's a very light touch to this page right there.
Okay, well, let's go back and we'll cheat and we'll lift up the vellum.
Okay.
And we'll let everybody get a really good look at this leaf. And I noticed that you also did some shading on there. I guess you used chalk,
Chalking
right?
is important. It does add a little touch to this.
That is a really nice addition, Beth.
And you know what's nice about it? It's just one photo, a nice journaling piece, a simple page, but so easy to do. And now I know mosaic really isn't that tough.
That's right. Remember, kids, keep it simple, stress-free, right?
Yes.
Now we're going to check in at the Memories Expo and see what Sandra Joseph is up to.
In Orlando, Beth and Sandra sit at a table with a woman.
We're in sunny Orlando, Florida for the Memories Expo Scrapbook Convention. This is Sandra Joseph from the Memories community and Susie Gursey from Me and My Big Ideas. I love saying that.
I know, it's a great company
It
name.
is a fun name. And you know, one thing that's really popular at these conventions is make it and take it. Maybe you could explain more about that.
You know, people can't believe it. They come in and they can go up to a booth, sit down for nothing usually, and make a project and take it with them.
Susie made a page right here, a little Halloween theme.
We did. We used 3 different sets of stickers. We embellished with glitter and jute rope for the cowboy, and then we just bordered it and dotted it. It takes about 15 minutes, and it's great because you don't have to think of the idea. They just sit down, we have the idea for them, and it's done.
One of the nice things about conventions, I'm sure, for a company is you get to unveil new products, new supplies, new techniques, and you have something called Power Pages.
Instant Power Pages.
Instant Power Pages.
This is where we already have the dimensions cut for them, measured out for them. They just have to crop the pages to the dimensions told on the page and use their own stickiness, and it's done.
So just add a little adhesive.
A little adhesive.
There you go. There you
I
go.
could do this.
I bet you could complete a lot in 1 hour.
I think I could.
Now let's show an example of one of these. This is more of a school page.
Full page, and this is another technique that you can add into it. Instead of cropping it to the dimensions, you can silhouette. For the scrapbookers who are a little bit more advanced, You can add glitter, or maybe for the hair bows, a little ribbon or something like that.
And it's just like the stickers.
It's just like the stickers, yes.
Another thing is these pictures you cut out, even though you tell it's 3.5 by 3.5, it's not like 3 1/8 and 3 6/8 and all that.
Yes, it's very easy to figure out on your propper.
Well, let's get busy. We can go finish about 10 more pages in the next hour.
Before the convention's over, probably.
And have a scrapbook done.
Great.
There you go.
Sandra and Susie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now let's head back to the studio for some more projects.
Julie and Michelle stand next to each other at the counter.
Julie has a great project for us. We're going to be making our own jewels from paint and punches.
Well, Michelle, I'm not sure about jewels, but I thought it was a gem of an idea, maybe. Let's look at the scrapbook page. It was just a really simple page for my son's birthday. And if you look at the letters and the little balloons on the page, they have like a shine to them. They look a little bit like patent leather or vinyl.
They have a dimension to them.
They have a dimension. I thought I would share with you how I did that. I mean, you know, I've been into all sorts of crafts for years and years, not just scrapbooking and painting, but a whole bunch of stuff. So I try to bring in other supplies where I can.
Well, and you're good at all of it.
Oh, you are so sweet. Okay, I'll give you the money later. All right, now, the first thing we want to do is actually cut out some numbers. And so I'm using a special cutting tool. There is a blade in the center, and this is a special template, especially for this tool. The only thing you have to remember with the template is it has to be the right way up. So when you see the name on the top, and you can read it, you know you've got it the right way up. So I'll cut out the letter 3. I'm just going to lay the tool right on top in the opening, and you just press down, and I'm holding it on either side, and we're just going to go all the way around the letter 3. I just take a little bit of patience. You can't just like whiz around this in a couple of seconds, because we want it to have a nice clean edge. There we go. And there we have
That's perfect.
the number 3. Let me just lay that there.
That's
Isn't that
great.
neat?
Yes.
Now, the next step is to put an adhesive on the back of this number. So I'm going to use this little machine here, actually drop the number 3 in, and then I pull it out the other end. Now, I've already done that because I want to get on to the exciting part. Just set the tool aside, and I already have the number 2 done here, and I'm using this specialty paint, and it is for paper and some other surfaces. Just unscrew the cap and pull it off. And I'm just going to test it first on a paper towel and make sure that it's going to come out nice and evenly. There we go. Now I'm just going to cover this number with the paint. And so you just squeeze, and kind of with the tip, I'm just going to spread it all around. And you don't have to be a decorative painter to do this. Believe me, anybody can do it.
Looks like it's almost fun to be messy.
Well, yeah, it is. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't like to be too messy.
No, but you're painting with it. That's really fun.
But it does make it easy. And it doesn't really matter if I go off the edge of the paper, because afterwards, when it's dry, we'll just peel it right off this backing sheet. But as you can see, because it's stuck down, it does make it nice and easy to work with. And I'm not getting my fingers all messed up. Now, if you get little air bubbles in there, all you have to do is just kind of pop them with the tip and just dab it up and down. And the paint is self-leveling, and that's what gives it that nice, smooth surface.
I almost would like in the balloon shape to have that little bubble. It looks like the little highlight.
That would be a great idea. My luck, it wouldn't be in the right place, though. So we'll set that aside. Now then what you need to do is to let it dry. Probably an hour, but I like to leave mine overnight. So now we have our numbers, and I'm ready to put them on my die-cut balloon, like this. These have dried. Turn that the right way up. We're ready to add it to our scrapbook page along with the photographs and some little balloons that I cut with punches, and it's just ready to go in an album.
That is a great project. Thank you so much for sharing that. Julie will be right back with Patty Swoboda and a new technique.
Beth and Patty are in the studio.
You know, I've always been fascinated by hot foil pens, but just a little unsure of how to use them. Patty Swoboda, she is here today to show us some original techniques, and you're the author of Shape Your Memories.
Yes, I am. One day I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to be able to add shaped pages to my scrapbook and be able to shape the protector around that shape?
Show us one that you have done.
Here's one that's done. You start with a basic pattern. There's 4 basic patterns in the book. And today I'm going to talk about the bell shape pattern. Okay? Not only a bell, but I made these frogs too.
Cute frogs.
Right. And here's a penguin.
The penguin, I like that one too.
Let's talk about the penguin.
Okay, how'd you do it?
Okay, well, here's the pattern. It's the basic bell pattern. You start with 2 sheets of black paper.
She places them side by side.
Lay your bell pattern down, trace around it.
Both sides? Okay.
Yes, got to get both sides there, mirror image going here.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll take that out of your way.
thank you. Now you end up with 2 halves make a whole.
Okay.
Now I'm going to show you how to make this bell into a penguin.
And we should mention that these pattern pieces are in the book, so you can copy them exactly.
That's exactly right, and the instructions to do it. So you just assemble your penguin a lot like you would assemble a puzzle.
And you've already glued the other one down just to show us how it can stay down.
I did, that's
Great.
right. And then you would glue everything down, and you take your first penguin half, and you glue it on a full sheet of paper.
Perfect.
Then you would flip the other half over to its blank side, cut out another bell half, start the process all over again, and create as many penguin pages as you want.
Because this could be really a major part of your book and have like 5 or 6, maybe a trip or something on there.
Yes,
Right.
oh yes, zoo pages would be wonderful. Then your final penguin half goes onto a full sheet of paper.
But we need to protect them, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So, onto the technique. Slip your completed penguin into a page protector. Now, of course, when you're doing this at home, you will have added your pictures and your journaling.
That's very important. You don't want to
Yes.
seal it without that, right?
Exactly, right. Then, for the technique, you use a hot foil pen. This is a battery-operated pen that heats up. When you press this button here, the little red light goes on, and that means the tip is heating up.
Okay.
What we're going to do is outline our shape by pressing melted dots into the page protector.
Should you maybe do it on something like a surface that's not going to get ruined?
You know, this heat isn't so hot. I've not had a problem with that.
Great.
But, you know, it depends. I wouldn't want to do it on a plastic tablecloth. I know that.
What else can you do with this hot foil pen?
Oh, there's a lot of different ideas. The book is bursting with ideas for using this technique. Okay, so you would go ahead and dot clear around your shape until you end up with this. You just cut away the excess page protector.
Right.
And that's how you get your shaped pages.
And what other uses can we have for this foil pen?
Well, actually, you use the foil pen with foil.
Hence the name.
Hence the name, that's right. You embed foil designs onto your page. And you can also use the foil pen to shape in other ways for your scrapbook pages. Look at these great borders.
And the borders around the edge there.
That's right.
Around the balloons and the hearts.
That's right.
Very nice. Very nice. So metallic, or in your case, we're working with plastic.
That's right.
Patty, thank you so much for coming on and showing us this technique. And I'll be right back with Michelle and Julie for a wrap-up of today's program.
Beth, Julie, and Michelle are sitting around a table in the studio.
You know, color adds so much to your projects, and even the lack of color with black and white photos can have a unique effect.
Well, you always think of black and white, and you think black and white paper and different things, but you can add color with your black and whites. For instance, here's an example using red with your black and whites, and it makes the black and white photo really pop. You know, and here's another example using more neutrals, but still the burgundy with the tan and the different browns. Again, it doesn't have to be a black and white.
It's nice they carried it out throughout the page.
Right. And here's another fun, just quick idea I wanted to show that I think of. Think of school colors. And if you're having, say, your high school reunion, why not create a tag using the school colors and use a photo from your high school portrait on your tag? Because when you go to a high school reunion, you don't always think, what's that person look like now? You think of what they look like then.
Exactly.
Some people may be balding, you never know.
A little bigger.
Is that really who I think it is? Oh my gosh, I can see it now.
So I think this is just a really fun way to do a high school name tag. And then also you could do the same thing for a family reunion. You know, you have family portraits that kind of everyone's seen, but you're not as familiar with them.
Right.
You know, they've gotten older or...
Well, you don't always know everybody who's in your family, you know, let's face it.
Exactly. So it's a fun way for both ways.
Well, remember, if you have any pages you'd like to share with us, send them to contact@scrapbookmemoriestv.com.
And thank you so much for joining us again this week. We hope you visit again next time. Scrapbook Memories features cutting and cropping. We'll be featuring all the latest tools and techniques. Hope to see you then.
Scrapbook Memories is made possible in part by Fiskars Consumer Products Incorporated, Pursue your passions. Memories Expo for scrapbookers and stampers. Kodak, maker of the Kodak Picture Maker. Share moments, share life. Michelle Gerbrandt appears courtesy of Memory Makers Magazine, a national publication dedicated to creative scrapbooking. Epson America Incorporated, printers, scanners, and papers to create your own photos and ready-to-print scrapbook layouts and artwork. Sandra Joseph appears courtesy of Memories Community for scrapbookers and stampers.
Funding is also provided by Hot Off the Press, Provo Craft, and Xyron Incorporated.
For more information and instructions for today's projects, visit us on the web at scrapbookmemoriestv.com. Today's show is number 204.
The credits read in part host Michelle Gerbrandt, Beth Madland, Julie McGuffey. Executive producer Catherine Stull. Directors Danny Demyan and Stuart Ryan. Assistant Director Sherry Sorio. Editor Sherry Sorio. Audio Bill McKinney. Cameras Ryan Pollock and Tom Reardon. Copyright 2002 KS Incorporated.
To receive your free copy of 99 Best Secrets for Scrapbook Success, send $1 for postage and handling to Memory Maker's free information offer, 12365 Huron, Suite 500, Denver, Colorado, 80234.
KS Incorporated, Creative Television, Creative Marketing. Funding for description provided by a grant from the U.S. Department of Education.